On this episode, we're diving into the most infamous Disney myths and urban legends to separate fact from fiction. Today's May 30th, 2025, and this is episode 776 of the Main Street Magic Podcast.
Jeremy and Rhonda are more than a little fond of Disney World, so they made this podcast to share it all with you. Reports and resorts, top 10 lists of all sorts, Main Street Magic's bringing it home for you.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Main Street Magic. I am your host, Jeremy Stein, and as always, I'm joined by my lovely wife, Rhonda.
Hey guys!
If you want to be part of the community and join the conversation, get the latest theme park news, as well as live streams from the parks and resorts, head to Facebook and search for the Main Street Magic community and ask to join.
Make sure you check us out on the web at mainstmagic.com, as well as follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at mainstmagic, and on TikTok at MSM Podcast.
Planning a trip to Disneyland or Walt Disney World can be overwhelming and at times just downright frustrating. But don't worry, because Mouse Dining removes the frustration of booking Disney dining reservations, alerting you when they spot availability for your desired restaurant, date, meal, and time. Visit msmfriends.com to use this free service.
And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can get brand new episodes every Tuesday and Friday.
Are you ready for your bucket list trip? Our trusted partner, MEI Travel, will handle the planning so you can focus on the memories. They offer free vacation planning services and have nearly 20 years of experience creating memorable vacations. Visit mainstmagic.com/travel for a fee-free, no-obligation quote today.
Well, happy summer, everyone. All the kids are out of school.
Well, here they are.
Well, yeah, that's true.
You Northerners, I feel bad.
Yeah.
Was it that way when you grew up in Florida?
Yes.
Like, when did school start and end for you? Has it always been way? Because I'm not used to it starting August
believe,
10th
yes,
and ending Memorial Weekend.
I believe so.
Okay. Yeah, we always started.
I'd have to go back and ask my mom.
We always started the day after Labor Day up in Maryland. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's that way anymore. I think they've moved it up. And then we didn't get out, though, till June
something?
Yeah,
Ooh.
I want to say my graduation date was like June 6th or 7th, so it probably would have been like 2 weeks after that normally, mid-June. So down here, it's just weird. We were sending kids back to school in August. I'm still not used to it, and I've been here officially 20 years. Did you realize that? As of about 2 weeks ago. Moved to Florida 20 years ago.
Oh,
so
well,
worked out pretty well.
happy 20
Yeah,
years.
I might stay. I'm thinking about it.
I hope so.
I think I am. So we're going to have a little fun today. Not that we don't have fun every day, but today we're going to talk about some different urban legends in Disney park, most Disney World myths.
That's cool.
That people have heard, and we're going to let you know, are they
We're
true or
myth
not?
Bust them?
We're going to myth bust them. Yeah, we're Mythbusters today. So we're going to let you know if they're true or not, and, just kind of offer some thoughts and all. So just have a little fun. These are 10 that we picked. There's obviously tons that are out there, such as there's a dome over Disney World.
That's probably my favorite
because
that's where cast members, and that's almost kind of where our shirts came up from. Be nice to cast members, because my favorite is when it rains in Florida, like it is about to storm right now. Somebody went to a cast member before, because it must have been raining the entire week. They were there and they said, "Can you turn off the water? Can you turn off the rain?"
I don't think that person was playing with a full deck, Rhonda.
Well, I'm just saying.
But let's just go through the thought process. Let's just say there was a bubble over all of Disney World.
I mean,
why would you ever turn the rain on? Why would you ever make it 100 degrees out like it is right now?
What was that movie with Jim Carrey and
the Truman Show?
Yeah,
kind of like that. Well, you know what? There will be a bubble over most of the park that's going in Abu Dhabi. The Disney park that is going there.
That's incredible.
So any
Why?
other part, well, because of the extreme heats, their weather and all there. Oh. So I know, and I don't know much about this. We're not getting into any sort of discussion on Abu Dhabi, but I know that other parks that are out there. I think there's a Ferrari theme park.
Can you really put a dome, like a very giant?
Well, it's an indoor theme park. I'd honestly have to look up. We'd have to look up what the other ones look like over there, because they are indoors. Now, do you look at indoors being like the fact that Cosmic Rewind is an indoor roller coaster? You can't fit an entire theme park into a building, so I don't know what it looks like. The concept art is very hard to tell anything from.
Yeah.
And of course, we're not going to see, this for a little while until it opens and all, but it'd be interesting to see. So debunk that one. No domes over Walt Disney World. If there was, they'd probably make better weather. Let's just say that. They wouldn't have made it 40 degrees when we were there on Christmas Day 3 years ago.
Yeah.
All right, let's start off with one that I think most everybody's heard about, spreading loved ones' ashes. Specifically, a lot of times when it comes down to Haunted Mansion, the rumor is that, guests will spread the ashes of their loved ones on Haunted Mansion specifically, or other areas throughout Disney. I'm assuming you have heard this before.
Actually, I haven't.
You've not heard this before? Are you serious?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is very...
I don't know how I feel about that.
Well,
weird.
Yeah, well, it's mostly true. In a lot of these, you go in and you look at the research and you want to find specific news articles or specific happenings. And there are some, but there's nothing I feel like that's concrete. Obviously, you got to figure this has happened. They have a cleanup code for it, which is HEPA, which is if vacuums. I can't remember what it stands for. HEPA stands for to get the tiny little particles. It'll get the smallest of particles in this vacuum system, and that's what they have to bring out to do it if this happens.
Well, how do they know if it happens?
They have cameras everywhere. I mean, you got to think that somebody's watching, for the most part, you at all times in the parks, in a sense. You know what I mean? Wow. So they're watching. I mean, you're already watching, ride video and all to look for any sort of illegal activities or inappropriate activities. This would certainly, I think, fall under inappropriate. I don't know if it falls under illegal. I don't know what the laws are around spreading a loved one's ashes, but Whoopi Goldberg, Disney legend, she revealed that she spread her mother's ashes on a Disneyland ride.
Wow.
And then Ariana Grande actually said that her own mother has asked to be dusted over Walt Disney World.
Wow.
So that begs for the question to be answered, Rhonda.
That's
if
crazy.
you could have your ashes spread somewhere in Walt Disney World, where would you have that done? That's a tough question, actually.
It is.
And it can't be multiple. Obviously, you would produce enough ashes that you could just be sprinkled all everywhere. This is not what we mean by pixie dusting, people. Okay? Please don't walk around throwing ashes around. In fact, I'm just going to say it now. Don't do this.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll just say don't do this. That is the official recommendation from the Main Street Magic Legal Department. Don't spread ashes in Disney World.
Yeah.
But if you could, where would yours be?
I don't know. I think I'd be just across property, I guess, or something maybe on the beach at Polly.
Ooh, that'd be a good one. That'd be a really good one.
In the water.
Yeah,
on a little bit on a cruise.
So you're going to be spread wherever you can. So to somebody,
sure.
So somebody's going to take you on a cruise.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to take you to Disney World.
Well, somebody, wouldn't it be you?
You go to Disneyland? I might be with you. I don't know.
No.
This could be a double duo.
Okay.
I mean, I think water somewhere on even that, that ferry boat from TTC to Magic Kingdom, somewhere along that way, right?
Now that would be fine, right? Quote unquote, because you're going into water and fish that you kind of just.
Well, no, I don't want to be spread there. I don't want fish. If fish are going to eat me, do not spread ashes at Walt Disney World.
Okay.
Putting that out there one more time. We'll put it in the show notes. All right. Have you ever heard that Cinderella Castle, mostly the turrets, the big spires and all that go up, can be dismantled for a hurricane so that it does not get
I think
damaged?
I have heard that, but they're not, right?
No, they're not. This
Correct.
is false. This is completely false.
Yeah. Because they are made for a hurricane.
It is made for a hurricane.
Correct.
Yes, it is made to withstand at least 110 mile per hour. This is made of concrete, steel, fiberglass. What's the fun question all the time on Keys to the Kingdom? Do you know how many stones were used or how many bricks or rocks were used?
Oh,
in the creation of Cinderella Castle?
Yeah.
0.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it is. It's all concrete, steel, and then that fiberglass shell.
Yeah.
As far as hurricanes go, though, in Disney World has been closed 11 times total. Most of those are usually for a day.
Mm-hmm.
There's never been really enough damage to go longer than that, and then some of those have crossed into the next day.
Yeah.
We've been there.
Yep.
During it.
Yep.
What's your take on?
I love it.
Hurricanes. Yeah.
Kind of seems like there's one right now outside.
Oh, we're in that time now.
Yeah.
It's the afternoon storms.
Yeah.
Here's what I'll say about the hurricanes. I don't believe you should rush to Disney when there's a hurricane. No. A lot of people do that.
Yeah.
Now, it's understandable if you are somewhere that needs to be evacuated, it's actually a great place to go.
Yeah.
But if you have a trip planned and there is threat of a hurricane coming, yes, it is completely understandable that you may want to postpone that trip. And,
right.
And I understand, but I don't think it's an automatic.
Right.
You know,
depending on when the hurricane's coming and
yes.
like where like, you know, and how far you are, like, you know, us being only 2 hours, there's been times where we canceled because of the roads and, you know, the travel.
Yeah. Obviously, if you're flying across country and you've got to worry about all this weather to get there or to get home, that's certainly a concern. But, you know, in those 11 times that they've closed throughout history for hurricanes, again, most of the time it's been one day.
Yeah.
So you have the chance of one of your days being a little ruined. Other than that, the parks are pretty empty. The cast members and everybody, it's incredible. What they do at the resorts is just outstanding. You know, when we were there at Coronado and they opened up every single conference room and ballroom for movies of different levels. Mm-hmm. Like they had ones that were much younger. They had ones a little older. You know, they had, I think, Marvel only movies. They bring out characters. Didn't they do a
They did a dog thing
They did
too.
a dog show when we were at Coronado because you could bring your dogs at that time because of the hurricane. So, yeah, not an automatic, like, cancel. Have you heard that nobody ever officially dies at Disney?
Yeah, because they just take it out. The people do.
Right. Here's the theory or the legend is that if you were to perspire or something be an issue on Disney property, that they will remove you from property before pronouncing you dead because they don't want that to go on property as though it happened at Disney or because of Disney. You know what I mean?
I mean, if there's no heartbeat,
I mean, it makes sense.
You don't say time of death. You go, hang on.
I guess you
Let's
do.
go.
You're like, look, we got to drive 2 miles.
Drive over here.
We got to drive over here, and then we
Let's
can
keep.
pronounce.
I guess they keep. Well, I guess if you keep compressions.
Well, if you, I'm pretty sure as an EMT, and I know of plenty that can probably reach out to us, if you start any sort of life-saving procedure or resuscitation, you have to finish it, I guess, or you have to try to finish it. It's something along those lines. Now, obviously, you're not going to be there for 3 hours, just, you know, trying to bring a dead person back to life. But I'm saying, like, let's just say that somebody was still alive or they hadn't pronounced them dead on property. They were trying to perform life-saving techniques while they're driving off of property and then pronounce them because they couldn't save them. I guess that's possible. All this to say it's false.
Okay.
People have obviously died on Disney property for a number of reasons. Whether they were pronounced there or not, I think is kind of beside the fact.
Right.
I don't see that they wouldn't pronounce them. I mean, you know, the news is going to get out. It'd be one thing if this was centered around some sort of giant cover up of like safety, you know, but if you have a heart attack in the middle of Disney, unfortunately, and you pass away, like that happens. And you know, now you're going to obviously have the news sites.
What if you wanted to? What if like, okay, you're hospice and you're like, but you want to be at home. And then you say, well, actually, can I be moved and I'm going to stay in this hotel at Disney in the Poly, like looking at the castle for a week because that's all I have.
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't know how that would work out because you have to think of what would have to be brought in to a room. You know,
well, no, I mean,
it would have to, but you'd have to coordinate it with Disney.
Right.
You couldn't do this on your own. You're not supposed to bring a toaster into a room and plug it in. You know what I mean?
Right.
So life-saving apparatus, I would definitely assume.
No, it wouldn't be life-saving.
Right.
It would just be.
Well, it'd be, but again, I'm saying life-supporting at the time.
Life, or keeping you.
It's gotten dark real quick.
Sorry.
I guess most of the, now that I'm looking, I think most of these have to do with death. So this is, maybe we should have waited and done this around Halloween.
Well, it is like dark out and scary.
Now, crazy enough,
now.
Did you know that on November 21st, 1984, a husband and wife, along with their 1-year-old daughter, were killed and 2 other children were injured when a single-engine plane they were flying crashed while attempting an emergency landing in the Epcot parking lot? Now that's crazy.
Oh, that's really sad.
That is. I know. I just can't even imagine that. But
that's
as going
amazing.
Through,
that I guess Epcot and Disney World having like Epcot and Magic Kingdom and the parking lots being able to.
Yeah, I mean, any of those would be a place to
possibly-
be for like a landing if you
Right.
were able to get a plane there in time, I
Right.
think. All right, let's move on to more death and destruction. Why River Country was actually shut down. The rumor, the myth, the legend is that somebody died from a brain-eating amoeba.
That's not true, is
It's
it?
100% true. It's not why they closed the park. The park stayed open for 21 years later.
Wow,
So
it
in-
is true.
Yeah. So, well, again, it's partially true in the sense that, unfortunately, in 1980, somebody, a boy, did pass away due to brain-eating amoebas that I guess were in the water.
I
It
went
was
to
known,
that. I was-
It was known. Well, so you had a difference. So you had the portion that went into the actual lake.
Yeah.
And then you had a separate body of water that was like a standard pool type thing.
Right. I'm pretty sure I was in there.
Well, you probably if you went to River Country, you probably did both. But again, it wasn't some big thing. This happened, you hear about something like this happening, I feel like once a year something happens. So, but that's been the rumors that, a child passed away, somebody passed away from this brain-eating amoeba, and they shut it down.
Right.
It ran for 21 more years until they shut it down.
Well, yeah, because 1980 was just a year after we were born.
Yeah.
So we weren't babies here.
Right, but I went in 86 or 87.
I started to say.
Yeah, so again, it happened
yeah.
after that.
Right.
But really, I mean, it kind of just closed overnight. I think economically and all, at the time that they closed it, it wasn't worth keeping open.
Yeah.
Now, if they rebuilt a River Country or they rebuilt this type of park anywhere else in Disney, and they had a portion of that park connecting into the natural, well, they're not even natural bodies of water, those big man-made bodies of water, would you ever get into it?
No.
Because here's the other thing. Now, not to say that there couldn't be animals in this water. When they had River Country, there was a barrier.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I remember.
There's a barrier, so there is
still,
keeping large things
I was young.
out from that section of the lake.
And I didn't care, but now, like, I don't want to touch nothing.
No.
And the bottom, even if it's sand, I don't care. I don't. Nope. Nope. That's a big old nope.
When I
for
first
me.
moved here 20 years ago, we used to swim in the St. Johns River all the time.
Yeah,
Now, that's insane to
but
me.
I didn't touch anything. I would just jump off the back of the boat and then pretty much cool down and then legitimately get back on.
We did some floating and such and
Okay,
some things.
but I still
and-
didn't touch the bottom.
Okay.
I would always ask Brian, whoever's boat we were on, how deep is it? And if it was over 6 foot and I'm 5, I was like, I'm good. I'll just get in. I can't touch the bottom.
Do you understand how water animals work?
I'm not talking about the animals
What are you worried about? Touching some mud or
touching. I don't know.
something eating you?
I don't know.
Because I would be scared of both, to be honest. There's stuff down in that water that will still get you. But anyway, yeah, I mean, it would have to have some kind of crazy filtration system, and you would have to have major barriers. The way that this one was set up was, I believe that the portion that was part of River Country was higher than the rest of the lake, so it actually did have a small waterfall that went over the edge, but nothing from the regular lake came into River Country. You know what I mean? That was a one-way system where water could flow out. But they did pump water from the lake in to operate the slides and all.
Yeah.
So you were swimming in that water pretty much no matter what. Now it's
Correct.
going through a filtration system and all,
Right.
but still. So interesting one, but I think that's one of those, these are some of the ones when you're sitting around, because this is the one you're sitting around at a gathering of people and they start talking about Disney, and you're the so-called Disney expert sitting in the corner, and you're just thinking, please God, nobody bring my name into this conversation, because I really don't want to get into it.
Yeah.
Oh, where was I? Shoot, where was I? And somebody was just asking me about Disney World and like if I went and whatever, and I was like, yeah, it's pretty good. Like I was like, I'm not getting into this right now.
Yeah.
So I
That's
didn't
funny.
bother, but yeah. All right, let's move on to the next one. Real skeletons were used in Pirates of the Caribbean. Have you heard this before? So in Disneyland, this is true. Originally.
I mean,
So
well,
at the time when Disneyland was opening, and then they were going, they're building Pirates of the
People
Caribbean.
donate their body to science.
Exactly. And so basically what happened, the Imagineers couldn't replicate at that time skeletons the way that they wanted. So they actually went to UCLA Medical Center that donated some real human skeletons for the ride. And then once Imagineers basically, I don't think it lasted very long. Once Imagineers were able to figure out exactly how to recreate them to make them look realistic, they swapped them out. From my understanding, they returned those bodies back to UCLA Medical Center, and then those were returned to wherever they needed for proper burial. This is what I read in an article. So originally, yes, but
That's
no longer
cool.
true.
I think it'd be cool. Like, because
To have real skeletons.
yeah,
in there?
instead of like your remains being, because I mean, going back to
you're
dark.
You're going back to spreading your remains.
Yeah,
so
going
so
back
your
to being
thought
dark.
would be,
Unfortunately, when you're cremated, the bones don't just like burn up. You have to put them in a bone grinder and everything.
you do?
Yeah. A lot of people, when they really think and talk
Television has lied to me.
yeah, it's really, from what I've been told and understand. And hey, maybe I'm wrong and somebody
Is
can
that why
say
in
something.
Snatch they feed them to pigs? Pigs can eat and digest human bones. What are we taught? What is this podcast about? Oh my goodness!
I don't know.
So maybe that's why, because bones can't burn in cremation. So okay, run down the process with me. I really don't understand what this is going. So what you're saying is you believe
that once you're in the incinerator,
right? They
take
incinerate
everything
you, but your bones are
and
left.
You put in the bone grinder, and it grinds down to that, like all the stuff, like the ashes. It drops. Yeah, from what because. So
well, if anyone knows, please let us know. I know we can Google this stuff after.
But that would be cool.
You're saying though, instead of being cremated with your ashes,
correct,
you'd like to be cleaned up.
Yep.
And have your skeleton
that'd be cool.
Be part of Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yes.
I think that's an awesome idea.
Yes.
Now, the problem is, again, we take things way too literal. What kind of cost would you have to be willing to put forth? How would it work? Because otherwise
you just pay.
You'd have skeletons just everywhere. Everybody would want to do that.
That's true.
Right? So like what would you have to put forth? Like, interesting. So are there other rides that you think would be cool then to have, I guess, skeletons, or to have real things like Tower of Terror could certainly have
that creepy doll that's
something
in there.
It's probably real. It's
no.
Annabelle. I think Annabelle's on the run or something weird. I think they moved the doll and then some place burnt down or something. That usually happens with that doll. That thing's weird. All right. Let's move on to the next one.
Yeah.
This is just, I apologize. I don't know where this whole thing's going. Okay. I think everybody's heard this one.
I did not.
You've not heard that there's a basketball court inside of the Matterhorn?
No.
Never heard that.
No.
How did you like the Matterhorn?
I didn't.
I would have rather played basketball there than go on the ride, to be honest.
I would have rather played basketball.
Yeah.
Why would there
I would have rather played one-on-one against the Yeti.
Why would there be a basketball court inside the Matterhorn?
So, a myth says that the court was included to keep Disneyland in the good graces of the local zoning regulators. Back in the 1950s, the story goes, the city of Anaheim only allowed certified sports facilities to rise as tall as the Matterhorn does. And so, to avoid a hefty fine, Disneyland rushed to install a basketball court in order to bring itself into line with the rules. Not true. It is a break area for cast members. And here's the problem.
Oh.
Here's the thing. Everywhere that I see this rumor, this urban legend, it says basketball court. It should say basketball hoop. You think of a basketball court, you're thinking of at least a full half court with tall enough ceilings with either a mounted or a stationary like standing up basketball. No, this is a backboard and a rim. Basically, it looks like screwed to a wall in a very small area that you could shoot around a little bit during your break if you wanted to. So it's not the reality of there being like this full basketball court. It's a basketball hoop.
Okay. That's cool, though. That's really cool.
Right? If you could have, what would be your ultimate, if you were a cast member, what would be like your ultimate break area, or what would you want? Like, and it doesn't have to be like a basketball hoop inside of the Matterhorn, but like what location would you think throughout Disney World property would be super cool to have like the cast member break room?
Like ice skating? Could you ice skate?
What? I'm just saying where. We're not bringing in activities. So your thought is you're going to work all day, right? And in your break, you want to do the physical activity of ice skating in Florida.
Yeah, because it's hot. That'd
Inside
be
of where?
So nice.
Inside of Everest?
Everest.
Okay,
There
so
you
we're going to
go.
build that right. All right, that's Rhonda's pick. Yeah, I think it'd just be cool to be...
What would you do?
If you could have any of the icons, you could have a area that would overlook parts of the park and just people watch and just look at people.
Okay.
That's normal episodes that wouldn't sound as creepy as it just came off, but the fact that this
Yeah.
one is so off.
I had mine was
point.
better.
Yours is great. All right, Ron is going ice skating. They can use the fake rink like they use at Jollywood Nights.
Right. And well, if that's the fake ice rink, then that sucks because it wouldn't be cold.
Right. Well, I mean, they can pump some air conditioning in there. You're so funny. To me.
I want to
All
go
right.
ice skating.
You want to
with
go
the
ice
girls.
skating. All right. We got a couple more here. I know you've heard of this. That the Brown Trail
Oh, yeah.
throughout
yeah,
Liberty
yeah.
Square
Yeah.
is basically poop.
Yes. And pee.
NP.
Yep.
It is human. It's supposed to represent human waste and sewage.
Correct.
Is this true or false?
This is true.
This is absolutely
Yep.
true.
And there are no bathrooms
Correct.
in Liberty Square.
Yeah.
Because of that reason.
Yeah. And the one that is located technically within Columbia Harbor House is not within Columbia Harbor House. It actually, I believe, on whatever plans, falls within Fantasyland.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Which is crazy. It's
Yeah.
so
So, basically, there wasn't plumbing. There wasn't indoor plumbing
Right.
back during this
Of
time
course.
period. So
I mean,
you would
geez, your
put it in a
dad, I
bucket.
think, told us stories that when they would
No,
go
they
to
had an outhouse at their house in Rock Hall, Maryland. They
Okay.
had indoor plumbing. How old do you think my dad is? He's the same age as your dad.
But still, an outhouse that's still raw that just goes into a hole.
Yeah, it does. But
So
but they had indoor plumbing. They had a small like shed on this land that I guess his parents or somebody bought in Rock Hall, Maryland, and it did have an outhouse.
right.
But they had indoor plumbing. That's what Lacey used to ask. Like, we're all shows in black and white when you were a kid. Like, how old do you think I am?
But still, I mean, that's only 75 years ago. So go back, unfortunately, a little bit further.
This is like 400 years ago. So that's a little bit further.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you don't have
You
it.
don't have it.
And
so
you have to just throw it.
Yeah, you
into
just
the-
go in a bucket and then you throw it into the streets.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess you just walk around it.
I guess.
At least they don't pump that authentic smell in. So
It was in earlier.
it was
Burlington.
We went to Burlington this morning. It's no longer a coat factory. It used to be Burlington Coat Factory, right? Did all they sell was coats? I mean, I don't know why that didn't do well in Florida. Now it should be called Burlington like leftovers. It's just full. It's basically
It's like a Ross or
it's
a
like a
Marshalls.
professional yard sale. You know what I mean? Like you never know what you're gonna find. Nothing's in order.
Yeah, that's true.
They've all got stickers on them, like multiple. You can't really tell what the price of anything is. There's security at the door. All right. Knowing tangled bathrooms aside, right?
Yeah.
Themed to tangled. If you could have any themed bathroom after an attraction, what would you have? So
I'd
let's
have
go
them all.
you'd want every attraction to have its own themed
That'd be really
bathroom.
cool.
Oh, I think it'd be amazing. Have a
I mean,
haunted
pirates,
mansion bathroom and pirates
haunted.
and
Well, that's like when we went to.
you know where the haunted mansion bathroom is? Morimoto, Asia. Is this still? You remember? I haven't been in the bathroom there in years, but it was like really dark with like red lights.
Yeah.
And it looked like a video from The Weekend.
Did you go to the bathroom when we were at Epic and we were in Dark Universe?
No, but I know who did.
That-
Tina.
So did I.
And I wish now I had gone to the bathroom
because
in
we
Dark
told
Universe.
you to
Yeah.
because it was really freaking cool
Okay.
in there.
So
like,
a theme to the rest of Dark Universe?
Yeah.
Like
oh,
what?
100%.
What does that entail? I don't know what a monster's bathroom look like. Do they all do
Black.
normal number ones and number twos?
Black toilets, all
Really?
black.
Okay. All
like dark when you went in, and then like over the toilet there's like a single light. Like it was freaking cool.
Oh man, I should have gone in there.
Yeah.
Did they
it
put
was,
the little tabs in the tanks of the toilet so it makes the water run red?
No.
Wouldn't that be cool?
That would be cool.
Yeah. All right. Well, so
But-
every ride. Okay, just pick one though. Let's see. What do you think would be
Haunted
the
Mansion.
coolest haunted mansion? A haunted mansion
Pirates.
bathroom. Yeah, I'm concerned with what a pirate's bathroom would look like. I think you would just go into a stone room and pee on the floor, or into some hay or something, or on one of those cats. Tiana's would be really
those
cool.
ones right outside. They could.
Yeah, I think Jungle Cruise could be cool. I could see Jungle Cruise doing gimmicky stuff, although you'd scare people. Like you'd have in the bottom of the toilet like a tarantula, look of a tarantula, right?
Oh, that'd be weird.
Like,
yeah.
There's been studies done.
People.
If you put something like a fake like bug or something in a men's urinal, there will not be as much stuff on the floor because they will try and aim and hit it. And so that way,
that's funny.
Which I don't know why most guys have a problem with doing that anyway. It's just straight ahead. I don't know what you're in there going to the bathroom while doing the hula hoop. Is what it like. It's I don't understand why the floors are all wet.
Ew.
Like I understand near the sink
glad I'm
area,
a girl.
the sinks and into the hand dryers or the paper towels. I understand. It's very hard. They really need those right next to the sink. But I don't understand. It shouldn't be around the toilets, guys. What are we doing here?
I don't know.
All right, let's move on. Cast members all point with 2 fingers. You notice, right?
Yep.
The 2-finger point is because of Walt.
Yep.
Do you know why?
Because Walt
The rumor.
smoked.
Because Walt smoked. So
It's true.
it
Right?
turns out, well, I mean, Walt was a chain smoker. I mean, he died of lung cancer, right?
Oh.
So he, though, did everything in his power to not be videoed, photographed, or anything with a cigarette in his hand. He didn't go on interviews or anything with cigarettes or, and when he was at the parks, he made sure to duck away from people. Looking at some of the stuff, a lot of the Disney legends and Imagineers called those idea zones because they would all go for their smoke breaks, and that's where some of their best ideas would come from.
That's cool.
So it's stated that because any of the photos that he was in, he did have a cigarette in his hand, which I guess slipped by him. He obviously would be holding it with those 2 fingers. After his death, Disney went back to all the photographs and basically removed
That's impressive.
the cigarettes from. You can do that in Canva nowadays.
I started saying now.
Yeah,
you
nowadays. They removed the cigarettes from all of it, leaving only his 2 fingers. And that's why they do it. Other ideas are that in some cultures, a 1-finger point is offensive. And so to, I guess, adhere and be respectful of all cultures, they will do... Stop pointing at me. It's rude. They will do the 2-finger point. But also, I mean, it sets them apart.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So that is one of the things that
Well,
you will
haven't you
always
ever
see
heard
them
of,
do that.
too, that when you're pointing at somebody, you got 3
Like
fingers?
3 fingers pointing back at you.
you.
Okay. What does that mean?
Well, because it's the whole point of like,
Okay. So now I'm pointing with 2. Now there's 2. What are we, even?
yep.
What if I just I'm just going to put my hand out and all 5 are headed in your direction? That's how you know you've really done it. Like, no more do you use children's middle names when they're in trouble. You just, all 5 fingers right at them. Did you do this? And they'll be like, oh, God, Dad gave me the full 5. What are we doing? And if it's your fault, I guess you just hold a fist. They'd all be back to you. Like, this was my fault, guys. Or you do the my bad. All right. All flags on Main Street, USA are fake,
Correct.
except for one.
Are you sure?
The main one that they
Oh,
raise
that's
and
right,
lower. Yeah,
because
remember
they raise
have
and
the,
lower.
Yeah, they have the one they raise and lower.
And that's why they're
Yeah.
all fake, because if they were real, they would have to raise and lower them every single night.
Yeah.
And
They have to go by standard flag protocol, which also
Right.
includes things like half mast. It also includes, I think the U.S. flag is supposed to be higher than all other flags. So you'd have to be like, well, there's 30 flags here. How do we do? It's all even, I guess.
Right.
But you'd have to make sure everything was technically at the same height. I didn't know this. Did you?
aren't they
Well,
also
oh yeah, we'll go back to it. So they do slight imperfections. So it could be that a flag has 49 stars,
Right.
or 12 stripes.
right?
And a lot of those flags that you see and they're running along all the buildings on Main Street are also service lightning poles.
Yes.
So
I
just something
like
to note.
that.
I didn't know that. And I'm gonna say don't put ashes in Disney World, and don't harm the American flag. But I didn't know there's not actual laws, like you can't get in trouble for defacing an American flag. I thought it was actually like a law. Like you always hear, like you can't burn an American flag, like you'll get arrested.
Oh.
It's not actually a law.
Okay.
I didn't know that. Congress tried to make it a law. To create criminal penalties for burning or defacing the flag. It was overruled by the U.S. Supreme Court in both 1989 and 1990. However, individual states can have laws, some that are punishable by fines and all. And one of the craziest ones is a person convicted of showing contempt for the U.S. flag or Montana state flag. This is obviously in Montana. You can do whatever you want with it here, I think. Can face up to a $50,000 fine and a jail term up to 10 years.
Wow.
So you shouldn't be doing it anyway, but I'm just saying,
right.
That's pretty crazy. All right, we've got one more, and I know you've heard this, that Walt Disney, either his entire body or his head, were cryogenically frozen so that when science allowed, they could bring him back to life.
Is that true?
It is not true.
Oh, okay.
No, it is only true.
But I have heard that.
In the case of Austin Powers.
Okay, that's a movie.
Yeah, but it was based on a true story.
No, it was not.
So I'm gonna go through some of the stuff if you go out and you look on the internet about all these. So in early 1967, a few weeks after Disney's death on December 15th, 1966, is when he passed away, a reporter for a tabloid newspaper called the National Spotlight claimed he had snuck into St. Joseph's Hospital in Burbank, directly across the street from the Disney studios and where Walt was being treated for his final illnesses. As the story went, the reporter disguised himself as an orderly, broke into a storage room, and saw the deceased Disney suspended in a cryogenic metal cylinder.
Oh my gosh.
Right? Some went to claim that he was actually buried in this freezer underneath Pirates of the Caribbean at Disneyland.
Oh my goodness.
Then in 1969, one of a French magazine advanced the rumors by predicting Disney would be thawed out in 1975. Obviously, didn't happen. Walt was cremated.
Oh, he was?
Not spread throughout parks or cruise lines, and buried at Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Glendale, California.
Oh.
So, a couple things here. One, if he was cryogenically frozen, where do you think they would keep him?
I mean,
Do you think, we'll say obviously they would keep him in some secure facility that is on complete lockdown. They wouldn't keep him on
property.
No, but let's just say they could. They said, you know what? We're able to build something for him on property. Not for people to come by and see. Now we're just getting really weird. But they're able to just keep it. Let's just say it was just his head. And
why would they just keep his head?
All you need is the brain.
Weird.
You attach it to another body.
That's not real, though.
Well, I know it's not real, but we're saying, let's say it was, and they had Walt's cryogenically frozen head. Where do you think would be a good place to store it? I would say his apartment in Disneyland, or in Cinderella Castle at Disney World, because he never got to see Magic Kingdom in Disney World. So what if he overlooked?
Well, I would think
Magic Kingdom
somewhere down in the utilidors, there's this
a special place,
a special major building, maybe even goes I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't want to say goes down because you can't go down anymore.
Yeah, you can't go any further.
But this one spot that is just all for science and for, I don't know, whatever. And then that's where he would be. And then
so if he was brought back, what do you think he would think of Disney as a whole company, of the theme parks and again, he only ever saw Disneyland.
Right.
He's seen no other park come to fruition
Disneyland was the first
afterwards.
one, which then you had Paris and all across.
Yeah, everything else he's never seen another one other than the original Disneyland park. I mean, that obviously includes California Adventure and all. So what do you think,
I think he'd be like, holy crap, I did not expect this.
Yeah.
I think that's what he would think. He'd be like, what?
Yeah.
How many do you have?
I know.
Wait, you have them all across seas? Wait, what?
Yeah. All over the world. I mean, just everything that Disney, under that Disney umbrella.
Yeah.
I don't know that he ever could have imagined.
You have cruise lines?
Yeah.
You have, I think he'd just be like, wait, do I own everything?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
You own half of the entertainment world pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it would be amazing if you just took one thing, is to have him see the audio animatronics of today. Yeah. Like the shaman at the end of Na'vi, or Kylo in Rise of Resistance. I think he would just be blown away. Because, I mean, he was really the one to introduce audio animatronics to the world and theme parks to the world. So I think it would be interesting. I'd love to see what his thoughts are on Disneyland Park.
How it's
Just
changed.
how it's changed. And just go,
And
here's
then
Disneyland Park. And he has to walk through it going,
California
here's how I
Adventure?
remember it. No, just Disneyland Park.
Oh, okay.
If that's the only one he got to visit, it'd be interesting to see his thoughts and how much he would feel like, man, this feels like the day I opened it.
Right.
Compared to why is there a Star Wars in the middle of my park, It'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, unloved. But again, only ever happened to Austin Powers.
Okay.
All right, that's going to wrap it up for this episode. We promise the next episode will not be nearly as dark or morbid. If we ever do something like this, we'll save it for Halloween time. But thank you all so much for listening. We truly appreciate it. We got a lot of fun trips coming up. We got a lot of things coming up that we want to talk about. We're going car camping next weekend here, and we are going to do a lot of stuff. So we're going to see the new Villains Unfairly Ever After show. We're going to see the new Little Mermaid show. We'll say goodbye to Muppets 3D.
We're going to eat
We're
Stitch
doing Caring
stuff.
for Giants. We're going to do Eat Stitch stuff. We're going to sweat. It's going to be fun. So make sure you subscribe and you get brand new episodes every Tuesday and Friday. And of course, as long as you're out there, we would be super thankful if you could please leave us a rating and review.
Because it helps our show grow.
That's all we've got, and we'll see you real soon.
Jeremy and Rhonda are more than a little fond of Disney World, so they made this podcast to share it all with you. Reports and resorts, top 10 lists of all sorts, Main Street Magic's bringing it home for you.